guys. Tuesday afternoon. I'm Tricia Turner. This is Anything But Average, Achieving Success in Life. I've got my friend Megan with me today, and we are going to do a little bit of deep diving into why she's so passionate about what she does and a little bit of her backstory. So, welcome, Megan.
Thanks, Tricia. Super excited to be here.
Super excited that you are here. So I always like to tell everybody a little bit about the show. So we're on our third year running the podcast every Tuesday at 12 o'clock Central. We're a little bit late today. That's okay. And the name of the game is positivity. I believe everybody has a story to tell. I believe everybody has a success story. And this originated back when there was just like so much negativity in the world, like much like there still is now. But this is to share positive messages. I'm in the real estate industry. Most people that come on are in the real estate industry. And it's to share like how we got to where we are and kind of help you guys learn strategies and tips to help you be successful in your life, whatever it may be. So Megan's going to share a little bit about her story and what she's doing. So Megan, if you could just kind of give everyone your backstory, like where you are in the world, what you do for a living, and how long you've been doing it, please.
Yeah. So I am currently in Palm Coast, Florida, which is in the northeast side of Florida, about an hour south of Jacksonville. And I haven't always been here. I haven't always been in real estate. I started out actually as in Pennsylvania, and I was a school teacher. I was a kindergarten teacher. And
Wow.
yeah, so I went from taking care of people's most prized possession, their babies, to helping them with their biggest investment. So it kind of like leaned into, each other. And yeah, I went from North Carolina down to Florida. I had a friend who I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was taking a little break from teaching, and he was like, "Why don't you try real estate? You like people."
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 years later, here we are. And over the last 9 years, I have built a team. We now have a branch office with EXP. I've brought my husband on. I met my husband. He was a buyer. And
Well, I didn't know that.
yeah, it's like my favorite story. I'm like, yeah, he wanted to buy a house, and then I moved in. And yeah, so he joined me about 5 years ago and 4 years ago. And he is such a great agent. He's such a strong, like, realtor. He's the data, he's the contracts, he's the like that rock piece. He's the implementer. And I am like relationship building, and I'm the visionary. And when we came together, it just kind of really bloomed into this business that we have today.
Okay, so you've been in real estate 9 years. Let's go back 9 years then. First of all, like what company did you start with, and did you stay as a solo agent or did you join a team right from go?
Sure. So I started with a local brokerage called Watson Realty Corp. It is actually the second largest brokerage in Florida, independent brokerage in Florida. And I started as a solo agent. Immediately when I got started, I can remember sitting in my office, and one of the experienced agents was like, "Hey, do you want to go to this meeting at the board?" And I was like, "Well, I have nothing else to do." So I went to the board, and through several times of going to the board, I ended up volunteering at the board level, and I'll come back to that. But about a year and a half, 2 years in, I knew that I had probably done like 5 million, but I just knew I didn't want to be answering my phone all the time. So I started to build a team. But at that time, I didn't no one in our area really had teams. It was before like this team thing was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I really, honestly, I built it the wrong way. And I've had to, because of that, like over the years, I've kind of like torn it down, started over again, torn it down. And we're actually in a start over again period right now, where we're just, just putting in, like we were talking about earlier, like just getting our systems tightened up and all of that kind of stuff. So I built my team originally in 2015. And through the years have had different agents, and Brady came on, and now we have 5 agents and an admin.
I love that. All right, so you guys that are paying attention, if you're not in the real estate world, the failure rate in the real estate industry is super high. Like 85 to 90% of real estate agents fail within their first 2 years. So Megan, as you just heard, in the first 2 years, she was already doing 5 million, and then she started a team. So right away, she's a hustler, she's a go-getter. Tell me, like, one, if you can think back when you were a beginning agent, because we get a lot of new agents that watch this. What were some of the things that helped you get to that level of success that fast that you could tell new agents?
Yeah. I think I just, I don't know, grit is one of those
Big
character
time.
traits I have that I was telling Brady that today that it's my best and worst character trait because sometimes I like will dig until I can't dig anymore. But I had a lot of grit. At the time I just set my eyes on success and I didn't really have a backup plan, if I'm being honest. I didn't
Yep.
have anything to fall back on at the time. So I had to succeed in this. There wasn't really another option. I also surrounded myself with people who were positive and uplifting. Um, that is a whole nother part of my story, but there are a lot of people who can come at you sideways because your goals seem too big for them, and so it can be really a tough business to get into. I was 26 and young and super energetic, and some people don't like that, and so I really quick early on I had to learn who were my people, and
Yeah.
I latched on to them. I got a mentor. I still keep in touch with my mentor to this day. His name is Lindsay, and has been, a crucial part of my success as a real estate professional and also, guiding me personally through just transitions in my business. And I will say too, like getting involved at the Realtor Association was a really big part of how I learned a lot. Like I say all the time, I know almost too much. Like I know if someone posts something on Facebook, I'm like, that's not good. That's not
I
right.
love that.
Yeah, but I also know that for me and our team and our
Yeah,
agents. So like I learned a lot of that just like the technical part of real estate and contracts and knowing contracts inside and out and just how associations work and why things are the way they are in the business. And that, you know, helped me be able to really develop my style and that like that give back, because I gave back to the association from the second I got in real estate.
sure. So are you still volunteering now?
So I actually, when I got started, I formed our young professionals network here at a local level. And that's actually part of my story of how we got to where we are today. So I was single, I was young, I didn't really have a lot of other things going on. So my head was down, putting a ton of hours in between my business and the association. I founded our YPN. I helped a couple neighboring associations found theirs, got involved at a state level, got involved at a national level. And within 5 years, I was getting ready to be president of my sixth year. I was the president,
That's crazy.
yeah, of our local association, and I was the youngest ever and youngest female, which is something that I think is really really cool and unique. And but like that is great, but I also did that because someone said I couldn't do it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so that's where the grit comes into play there. And while I was, like those things are typically done. I don't, if you don't know how associations are, they are voted as like vice president, president-elect, president. So 3 years in advance, I was elected to that role. And I was also selected 2 years in advance to chair the Florida Realtors Young Professionals Network.
Love it.
Yeah, which we had 185, I think, thousand realtors at that time. So I was like ahead of all of that.
Yeah.
And then 2019, or then 2018, I got pregnant with our son Elijah, and so I was young, determined, trying to balance a business, trying to be the president of the board, serving on all the charity committees, and then also serving at a state and national level. And I kind of lost myself
I
in
bet.
in the industry and in that do more, be more, bigger, faster kind of hustle race that we can get into
Oh,
in real estate. And so through that, trying to be everything. Like I was at a meeting 2 days after I had the baby, like crazy things like that. And, 8 weeks after I had him, I was in DC for, the legislative meetings. And so I think I learned a lot during that time, um, because I ran myself into the ground.
Oh yeah.
But I learned a lot about, like now, like how my priorities are set up. It's, like I have to take care of me first. Like
Yep.
and I love my husband and I love my son, but if I'm not well, then I can't do anything for anybody. And, that has been a really, really big lesson and a really, uh, I guess, difficult one to get to because I had to break. I had to get to that point. But now my whole business is run like, okay, am I in check? Okay, did I do my morning routine? Did I take care of myself
Right.
before I can go and take care of everyone else?
You
So,
know, I love that you said that because people that watch from the outside into the real estate industry, they don't really know what it's like to live our world, to live with us. And the average agent sells anywhere from 5 to 10 homes a year, maybe, but we're not average. And so when you are a high producer or a high achiever or you run a big business, we're working just like Megan said all the time. And the business can take control of us in our lives, and we lose control of those things because it's a daily grind. And if you're like she is, a visionary, and like I am, we're always building. We like thrive on building things. So it's like hard to shut that stuff off. So I love that you were able to recognize that. And then it's still probably a work in progress, right?
oh yeah, absolutely. you know, I so one thing that really, like, I guess has been my changing point, has been that I think is important to talk about has been my sobriety as well, because that has really helped me get to where I'm at today. In the real estate culture, there is a lot of partying, happy hour, um, networking events, all of that. And so I did get lost in that as well because I wasn't taking care of me, right? So like when I lost me, it became a whole lot easier to cool down with a glass of wine at night or to go to the next networking event. And when COVID hit, it was like the best and the worst, right? At the same time for real estate professionals. Like I think we shut down for a solid month,
Yeah.
but it was like I feel like it was like the catapult coming back and like them holding it steady and then releasing,
Yes.
and it got crazy busy. So everything was good financially, everything was good. Like I had a good life. I had good leadership roles, I had a good office set up, I had switched to EXP, and I really like what this company has done for our lives and especially in our business and our lives, like it's done a lot for us. And so everything was good. And then I had in August of 2022, I had just some trauma that I went through, some pretty serious trauma where my whole world was kind of shook. And it wasn't because of, but my patterns of substance use were picking up during that COVID time. And it became a whole lot easier when I'm working from home to have a drink in the afternoon or not have to, because you're not going to appointments. And so after I went through that super negative experience, I just started to reframe my relationship with alcohol and like look at what does this bring to me? And like everything was good, but we had kind of hit a plateau on things. Like our business was good, but we were like stuck at the number of sales
Yep.
and at that income level. And, my relationship with Brady was good, but like we were going to work every day. It was very like, we hung out at home, we hung out at work, we hung out with our friends. And then like,
Yeah.
yeah, my relationship with Elijah was good, but I also noticed he was one of the first ones dropped off and one of the last ones picked up. And so when I shifted my relationship with alcohol, I found that I was able to focus better, one, on myself, to take care of myself, to be stronger for them. I had a much clearer mind, even if it was one glass of wine or two, like I would be like, ugh, the next day,
Yeah.
like a little slower. And so I was able to focus more on work and able to get like now I'm able to pick Elijah up, between 3 and 4 versus like 5:30. And so, I'm able to just be a better version of myself, like a much better version of myself. And I'm so much more calm. I don't ride the roller coaster with my customers like I used to. And it took some really not great stuff to happen. But now being on the other side of that and having my sobriety, I honestly don't think I could be running what we've got going on here without it.
I love that.
Mhm.
So it sounds like it gave you clarity. You see
Mhm.
things much more clear now, gave you a different energy, a different focus.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think like I had to learn who I was too,
Mhm.
because I think like that's, what we are talking about, especially as a mom and a female in this industry. I think, I mean, I'll just say it, like we have a lot to go up against, right? We have to
Oh,
prove
yeah.
ourselves, like business is a man's world for the
Yep.
most part, but as a woman, or woman, I think I was trying to wear all the hats, and I was a mom, I was a realtor, I was a team leader, I was a branch office manager, I was a wife, I was a friend, I was a sister, I was a daughter, but like there was no Megan.
Mm-mm.
So finding myself again and finding what makes me happy and like taking the time to go to the beach in the morning, and just
Love that.
leave it in, or like taking 5 minutes, even if it's in the middle of the day, to write down 5 things I'm grateful for. One of our agents is sitting right here, and that's what we just started doing last week. We're like texting each other like 5 gratitudes,
Oh,
yeah, and it's just like little things like that I didn't like, those little habits and those tools in my toolbox that I didn't have before, that make me a better businesswoman
yep.
because I'm doing those things for me.
I love that. So when you switched over, I'm going to go back a little bit because I've listened to like everything you said. I love everything that you said. So just to kind of put it all together, when you switched over from the company you were at previously, went to EXP, when you did that, was it just you and Brady, or did you have a team then?
Yeah, so at that time, it was just me and Brady. The company I was at previously really didn't have a structure that set a team up for success. They had a corporate fee, they had no cap on commission, they had like we were at the top split. We didn't really have a ton of people who were in our office that were able to pull us up because we were,
Right.
at the top of we're the top in our office, and that really was like the pivotal point for us, was like we looked at how much we paid them, and then we looked at like where our training was coming from, and it wasn't working out. So we couldn't build our team there. We just, financially, it didn't make sense for the agents, it
Right.
didn't make sense for us. So when we had the opportunity to explore EXP, we were actually deciding on opening our own company, or like so many stories, right? We were
Right.
talking about
Yes.
opening our own or joining EXP. And I sat down with my broker at the time and I was like, listen, like she knew, right? Like we all know when the relationship's ending, everybody knows,
Of
right?
course. Yes.
And she was great. And we sat down with her at breakfast and I was like, listen, like we're talking about opening up our own. Um, or I don't know, it's this company called EXP because it was 3 years ago, it wasn't really around where we're at. Like, I don't know if you've heard of it. And she's like, yes, like you need to go to EXP. And so my
Wow.
broker at the time, who knew that that season had ended for us, right?
Yeah.
She supported us going to EXP, and she's like, Megan, you are not a contract person. You are not going to sit down and check everyone's contracts.
No.
I was like, you're right. So you got to know your strengths and weaknesses. And so that's when we transitioned to EXP and we started building our team. I would say, because I transitioned in January and we had the baby in March.
Oh, wow.
I was super pregnant. And so I would say we took like a year to kind of like me momming and having all those other
Oh, yeah.
responsibilities. Brady was running the real estate business. And then we kind of like came back together and started building the team back up.
So then you mentioned too that you've torn it back down. So have I know I've done the same thing. So I had my own independent brokerage because I'd been with every big box company and was like, I learned what I didn't like about all of those. And then I went and got my broker's license and I was like, I'm just going to open my own and do my own thing and not have to worry about all that drama. And I'll tell you what, you be grateful that you didn't do that, because that there's even more drama when you open your own, and it's like so much goes pouring into it, not so much coming out of it.
Right.
So your profits are like, zero if you're not producing. And so it was a big eye opener for me. And then I switched over to EXP a little over 3 years ago. So probably you went in January. I switched in October of
Oh
2018.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're super close in the timeline there. And for me, because I'm in Houston, and so it was like a new concept here too.
Mhm.
And it was me leaving my own brokerage and taking agents with me. And so it had not been done like here before. So it was a new concept, and I had to learn it. And it was like 6 months of, okay, like how does this need to work? And what is the best way for me to like be able to take care of my family and make a living, and then do what's right for the agents?
Yeah.
Because when you get your broker's license, like I believe that you should be getting your broker's license because you want to provide what's the best possible life for agents that you sponsor. And
Yeah.
so I've just taken that oath. And when I switched and went over to EXP, I do believe it is the best company. I do believe that we have the best opportunity out there for agents. And I've had to build up teams, my team, because I developed a team too, built it up, tore it down, built it up, tore it down, because it was wrong each time. So we just redid it again, probably like in June of last year, June, July of last year, it started reforming. And people don't realize like how hard it is to run a team in real estate, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, it's so funny because like kind of like that external noise, right? Like even when I was just saying it here, I was like, "Oh, should I be saying that I like am rebuilding?" But I mean, honestly, like if you're not, this industry moves so fast that if you're not reevaluating what you're doing constantly, like you have to reevaluate. And I mean, breaking it down, and I know this is the same for you, like doesn't mean like burning everything in a dumpster fire. It just means like, okay, what's not working? Let's get rid of all that. And like, what is working? Let's like elevate that and like, let's put some other things into place
Yes.
to make it work. So,
So when you switched over and left the brokerage that you were and went to EXP and then built a team, and you guys are in build mode now for sure,
mhm,
I believe one of the greatest things that we have is collaboration. Like I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for EXP. We wouldn't even be talking if it wasn't for
yeah,
EXP. Don't you think?
yeah, 100%. I mean, it's so, I feel like so corny sometimes, or like so cliche when I'm like literally my life, the trajectory of my life was changed. And in so many ways because of this company, like alignment is so important in life. And that's something that I really have figured out over the last 18 months to 24 months is like who you are standing next to. You are a sum of the five. I've always known that, right? Like you're a sum of the five. Like no, like literally, like
Mhm.
your thoughts in the back of your head are going to become who those people you surround yourself with. And like I like who we talked about, like we've been coaching with outside EXP, but then we also have our leadership calls on Monday. I'm being constantly poured into by people like you, like strong women in the business, and um, generosity. And that's who I am as a person, is very generous. I'm always trying to help somebody no matter what, because I really do believe, I think it was Rockefeller that said like, or no, it wasn't Rockefeller, but he said like the quickest way to get what you want is to help people get what they
Yep.
want.
Yep.
And like not the selfish part of that, but like really like helping people just comes back around. And this company, the way our compensation plan is structured, it just, I feel like everyone's just happy, right? Like everybody's happy, everybody's generous, everybody's willing to help because we all want to see each other succeed
Yep.
because we care about each other. Like it's so different than any other um company I've been a part of. And just like the language, like partnering with people,
Yeah.
like that just is it, because words matter, and alignment and
Mhm.
partnership is just, it just changes the language. And like attraction, like attracting business versus, going and getting business. Like getting business sounds like ugh.
You know what I think is super cool? It's like I tell everybody, because 5% of the world are leaders, 95% are followers. And so I tell people all the time, like, now a little over 3 years in, it's like I believe that this company is built of the 5%ers, because when you're like running your own race and doing your own thing, like here in my company, when I was just an independent broker, I again was the top producer. And when they tell you it's lonely at the top, it is, because your competitors don't want to be your friend. They don't want to hang out with you. But with us, like in our company, like we're none of us are competitors. We're all collaborators. We
Yeah.
thrive on hanging out with each other. Like we look forward to the next event. And it's the craziest thing, because none of us, like in our core group, live in the same market area,
Mhm.
but we talk more than we probably do to our people locally. And we like are synergized by just each other, the presence. It's insane. I think
Well,
it's
I
the
mean,
ever.
I've been on 3 calls with you in the last, like, 26 hours, right? Like, we were on at 10 o'clock yesterday, at 6 o'clock last night, and this, and it's just like you said, you're right, like, that collaboration over competition attitude is just abundant in this company, and, it really, like, it stems from leadership down, as most things do, and I don't know, it's just, it fills me up. Like, I get so excited about this stuff, and just like thinking about, like how my son is going to be set up
Oh
because
yeah.
of a choice that I made when I
Yep.
was, pregnant with him.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm on fire. And like the other part of that is like I'm so much happier, right? Like,
Me
I
too.
love coming to work. I
Mhm.
walked in today and there was an agent who just joined us, and have he's been a dear friend of mine, and he just made the jump. And I said when I walked in the door, I was like, I am so happy to see you in this office, because I know it's what's best for
Yeah,
him in his life, and I
for
can't wait to
sure.
share that with my friends. And it it just fills me up, and I'm really grateful to just be around everybody. And they say, like, if you're gonna climb a mountain, right? Like, you're gonna climb Mount Everest, you're not gonna go by yourself, right? Like, you're
Mhm.
gonna get a guide, you're gonna get someone who's been there, who's experienced, who knows what they're doing. And honestly, at any level you're at in business, like literally, like any level, you've got somebody who can help you, who will open up their playbook. We've got single agents anywhere from doing, 1 to 3 million, who are coming on and growing their businesses, to like huge teams with 100 million plus coming on to grow their
Right.
businesses. One agent right now, his goal this year is 2 billion. So it's just, we've got the whole gamut. And my belief system is that everybody has a level up.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I believe that everybody has a level up, and I believe that if you surround yourself with the right people, that you are naturally going to be leveled up. And that's what happens here.
Well, and I believe too, like when you said that, I believe, like when I hear of the other teams' numbers, like if they sold 2,000 homes last year, I'm like, oh, but we need to do that. It's like there's no envy whatsoever. I'm inspired. I'm like, okay, and I know them. We know them, so it's like they're no different than you and I. They've just been at it a little longer, and they did their systems maybe are tweaked a little bit more, and they've got more of the right people in the right places. So it's like that's attainable.
Yeah,
I know how to do it, and if we don't know how to do it, there's people within our company that will help get us there, because everybody shares everything. So it's like I see the light, whereas a lot of people, like, you can't figure out life alone. You can't figure out how to run a real estate company by yourself. We're better
mhm,
together in all things. And so it's like I don't have to sit back and scratch my head and be like, gosh, I don't know how the hell I'm going to achieve this. If I can't figure it out, I'm just going to ask somebody, and
yeah.
then I can see it. You
You
know?
grab that tour guide to take you to the top of Everest.
Yes. And so it's like, I believe when you put the right people doing that kind of stuff, it enhances so many other lives, because when we have agents, again, in the real estate industry, when people are failing, and I believe that the failure rate is going to get even bigger, because, like, look at the market right now. We have zero inventory anywhere. That's a problem. And people that don't recognize it as a problem are just blind,
Yeah.
because one home sale feeds so many different industries. It's like, it's our responsibility in the real estate industry to keep this churning to help our economy,
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's 26 different vendors that are involved in transactions. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to get out there and hustle. And when we look at families that we support, and bills that have to be paid because of these home sales, it's our responsibility to make it happen. So we have to be better together, so that we do keep pushing that needle and pushing that mark and grabbing up agents and being like, this is how you do it. Come with us. We're going to show you. We're going to train you. We're going to make sure that you're always able to live an abundant life because that's what we believe,
Yeah,
period.
absolutely. And that is, the benefit of having like either a mentor or joining a team as a newer agent. And I was talking to one of our newer agents too, and she said she was having a conversation with some people that were like, why would you stop being a single agent to join a team? And that's what it's for. It's like that person to hold your hand. It's hard. It is brutal right now. It is hard. You
Yep.
know, I've had like one weekend, there were three of my girlfriends and I, all of us were like almost at the point of tears because we're like, we're just driving around writing up offers just to be like burn out by a cash offer, 20% over the list price. And you get attached, right? Like we're dealing with people, it's a people business, and you feel the pain of the buyers
Yeah.
you're working with. And so, being able to surround yourself with people who are also able to help you either write
Yep.
stronger offers or just help you like, yeah, it sucks, like, but here's what we're going to do to pick ourselves back up and get back
Yes.
there.
All right, let's touch on that a little bit. Here's another thing that I think is really cool is that we learn from each other. We share great ideas. You just did a retreat. I want to talk about that a little bit. Why? What made you do that? What drove that? And share that experience if you could, please.
Sure. So I about a week and a half ago did a retreat, a women's retreat. It was called Lift, and it's ladies influencing their futures together.
Oh,
And what started this? It was a crazy idea, right? Like I called two of my girlfriends. I was like, I have this idea. They're like, we're in, and I'm like, that's all I needed.
yep,
And I think like a higher power guided it the whole time,
for sure.
because it was everything was flow and lives were changed. But it came about from that moment of being broken. Like the what Brady and I went through was super challenging on our entire year last year, and really put a lot of stress on just who we are and like figuring out who we are as individuals and like not getting caught up in that sell another house, sell more money, more commission. How much did you sell? How much did you make? That kind of a hustle culture. And so I looked at all of my close friends in real estate and I recognized each of them has an incredible business, but we were spinning our wheels, but also like, what are we doing that is working smarter, not harder? And so that's kind of what that Lift retreat became is a group of women who were there to support growing businesses, because of course as businesswomen we want to do that, but to remove that like hustle culture. Like none of the sessions were about how to sell more houses. It was all about how to, one was how to make your brand work for you.
I like that.
Yeah. Another one was about giving yourself a raise and just like really dialing in your budget, which dialing in a budget, like you can save. I mean, if you're saving 1 or 2,000 bucks a month, that's 24 grand a year. And
Right.
I guarantee everybody can look at their budget and tighten up a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
And so like sessions like that. And my session was called Start Betting on You. And we really just talked about like who we want to become and what do we need to do to become that. And it was so special. I watched we had a videographer come and he showed me the video for it today, and I was just in tears because
Oh,
yeah, all the women were, he had all the testimonials and everyone was just saying like how life-changing it was and how it was not like the typical real estate event. And that was the point, that it
yep.
was supposed to help you grow your business and give you some action items that you could take away immediately, but also to remember like we're humans too. And a lot of us are moms or girlfriends or fiancés or wives. And we have to honor those other pieces of us so that we can grow our businesses into what we want them to become and live that life. Because if we're sitting and selling all day long, like I get when Elijah was the first one dropped off and the last one picked up. And, when he was like a year and a half, he was walking around with the remote control. "Beep, beep, 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 beep." And I was like, oh no. And,
He's
like,
imitating you.
yeah. And so like that's like it's funny, but also at the same time I'm like that's not what I want my son to be thinking about when he thinks of me. And so really just like remembering to honor the woman that you are, the Megan, the Trisha,
Yeah.
other than all those other things we can become in our life.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it was special. I have had some women reach out to do them in their areas.
I love it.
It was, I mean, it literally started as an idea, and my girlfriends rolled with me, and we ended up having women fly in from like 10 different states, from like all across the country. Texas, people came from, the Northeast and
Yeah.
the Midwest as well. And, we're definitely going to be doing it every year. I'd love to be doing one in Florida every spring, and then
Yes.
on the West Coast in, like September time. And just get all these women together to remember who we are as we
So
build our.
was it a full day event? How did you do it?
Yeah, so it was we had it was we rented an Airbnb, so we had all the contributors is what I called them, not
Yeah,
speakers, like we're saying words matter, like they're contributors. So all the contributors stayed in the house. So that was really special too, because
I
we
bet.
bond and like have those late night conversations and like
Yeah.
making coffee early in the morning. And then on the full day event was on Saturday, and it was just all day long of speakers and networking and lunch. And we did a really fun activity with a fire at the end of the day. And then there was a VIP option. So the VIP option had a dinner, a private dinner at the home. And on Sunday morning, we had a yoga instructor come in. We did some yoga and meditating. And then we had this like just sit around and talk about like what's coming up for everybody. What do you have more questions about things you heard yesterday? Where are you at? And a lot of it was like, I don't have this tribe where I'm at. And that was like a common theme that kept coming up. Like, I don't have like at home, I don't have this. And, you know, one of the things people were like, well, you can build it. And I was like, but it also doesn't have to be at home, right? Like technology is so cool these days that you and I, like I said, we've seen each other 3 times
Right.
in the last day and a half.
Yes.
So building relationships with people across the country is so much easier now. And that's really like, those networks to hold on to. So yeah, it was super, super life changing for me. From what I've heard from everyone else, also very life changing for them. And just really good to like realign yourself with why are we in real estate, right?
Yes.
Why are we working so hard? What are we trying to build here? Because if it's just to sell another house or to make another, several $1,000s, 10,000, $100,000, like that's not always what's most fulfilling. So
That's not the purpose.
no, no.
Oh, and so do you find that every year that you get more purposeful and you get more intentional?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, like the last 18 months has been super transformative for me, and just really figuring out, who I am, and the mask I was wearing. I had to like
Um,
recognize that. I thought I was happy, and I was happy, but how I like really equate it was like everything was good, like life was good, and the enemy of great is good.
Absolutely.
And so, I really had to figure out like I took like 8 months off last year,
Holy
where
crap.
yeah, where I like handed my phone over to Brady and was like, "Bye."
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I burned I said yes. I became the yes girl, and everyone knew it.
Yep.
And so once everybody finds out that you're the yes girl,
Oh,
then
yeah, you're in trouble.
yeah, they keep coming to you. And I also thought asking for help was a sign of weakness. And, um, through my like self-discovery, I mean, I understand why I did that. And I think a lot of it does have to do with being so young, getting into this business and trying to prove myself,
Yes.
especially as a woman in business. But yeah, like my purpose now is so different. My goals, it's funny because my where we want to go, what we want to do is so much bigger than
Yes.
it was before, but my
Oh,
purpose
yeah.
is so much different. It's all about, like he's pretty much primary on the team the real estate side of business right now, and I'm working on the agent attraction side. And he wants to help 100 families next year, and that scared the crap out of me. I was like, I want a husband, because I had the limiting like
Oh yeah.
there, and we're beyond on track for that goal, which is amazing. And like, but that became a purpose to help more families. It wasn't like I want to like buy a car or
Right.
stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
like helping more families. And mine is growing our agent community. And my goal is also 100 agents by the end of this year.
I love it.
Yeah, and that's because I want to share. Like, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through.
No.
And
And
it was brutal. It was like, you know, it was super painful. It was not fun. It broke me to the floor. And if I can help prevent somebody from having to get that broken, I want to, be able to do that. And I think a lot of moms can relate to like losing themselves. And so like I want to help more people have that amazing business while also remembering who they are and like truly honoring like that core person inside.
I love that. I agree with you. I think sometimes God not makes us go through these things,
Mhm.
but I think sometimes these things happen in our life so that we learn and then we are strong enough to get through them and then we can help inspire and guide other people because just like you, I've went through some really dark times. It's like I don't want anyone to ever do that again. And I think that's what creates the passion.
Yeah,
Like one of our things is when I built my independent company, our slogan was driven by passion, inspired by people. And it's like I still stand by that because that is what drives me. It's like it isn't another home sale, it isn't another anything. It's I'm passionate about I don't want agents to struggle and I don't want them to ever feel like there's no help or no guidance or no tribe to be part of because it's a scary world when you feel like you're doing this alone. And especially as the world continues to change and disrupt in the real estate industry, it's like we are better together. And I believe that when you really believe that in your heart and in your soul, just like you said, helping families. I believe that we are helping families. I believe we are changing lives.
yeah,
And when you're sincere about that, I think it comes through. And I think that it's irresponsible for us not to go out there and try to share the good news.
absolutely. Right there with you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hey, what does the future look like? I always like to end. I know we need to cut because I see my timer's run off. What does future look like for you? I know you've shared some goals: 100 agents, 100 families being helped. Are you guys going to continue to try to expand outside of Florida? Are you going to stay local? And then, what's a couple of pro tips you could give agents that are watching right now to help grow their business in 2022?
Yeah, sure. So I think, really we're really trying to put those systems in place to support agents right now and just really like dial all of them in. And we have, we're investing in coaching to do that. So that right now we are heavily invested in coaching to help us be better to help grow us to be better leaders so that we can help agents either grow to be better leaders themselves if that's the direction they want to go or grow their businesses. We do want to grow the team. um, I would say 25 agents. I think that's where we're looking to go. And I definitely want to have 100 agents in our organization by the end of the year. I think that I might have to shift that goal, by mid-year, just because of the way things are going for us. And yeah, we just, you know, like I think I mentioned this before we got on. Like I got tired of hearing I hate my agent or like that like hate. I'm like, you hate them? Like what did they do to
A
make
hard
you
word.
right?
Yeah.
And or like my real estate agents are, sleazy.
Garbage.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so that's really where like our whole passion of growth came from is like providing a better customer experience. And we can only do that so much with Brady and I. So we need to expand to help growing agents so that they can provide that better experience so that we can touch more people because
Oh, yeah.
it's like the drop in the pond that just ripples to get bigger. So that's really where I see us going. I was telling Brady today, I'm like, we outgrew our office already. He's like, we'll make it work because he's
Is
the
that a
budget.
big problem?
Yeah, he's the budget guy. But yeah, so I think just continuing that growth, continuing with this Lyft events and this community with Lyft. If anybody, resonated with that's listening to this, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to continue to support women through a life of recovery. It's been beautiful for me. I've had some incredible mentors. So also if somebody's in that life of recovery, please, I'm absolutely a resource that you can reach out to. But just continuing to just try to be a light for people, and being honest with them. Like I say my superpower is vulnerability. And
Mm,
so, I think that's something that is missing, because we try to be strong and tough and sell more and all that, but really, like, people connect to people. So just trying to see how many lives we can touch just by sharing our story, and to continuing to do things the right way and do the right thing. Tips for agents. Oh goodness. I would say, like, number one, if you're a brand new agent, get a mentor. Align yourself with the right people.
yes.
Um, you truly are some of the five people you are around all the time in your, whether that's personal life, whether that's professional life, whether that's, whatever part of your life, that will bleed into who you are, how you think, and therefore your actions. So I would say find a mentor that inspires you and is knowledgeable and can help take you to where you want to go.
For sure.
And for those agents who might be feeling like they are caught up in that rat race of, sell more, be more, do more, don't be afraid to take a break. Definitely, like, put somebody in charge of your business, but don't be afraid to take some time for yourself. You don't have to take as long as I did, but you can take
That's not long.
some time to figure out, why. Like, I call it the because everybody talks about this big why, and mine's because, like, what's gonna make me pick up the phone? I'm gonna pick up my phone and make my calls because, of what I want.
I love it.
And we would like to have another baby, and potentially, if it all works out. And
Sure.
I know I don't want to go through what I went through last time, like with not being able to dedicate the time, effort, and energy to being that mom, and taking care of myself as well. And so that's my because, like, everything I'm doing right now is to set myself up so that we are in a position that I can take that time to be a mom.
I
Um,
love that.
and so I think just making sure you're taking that time to figure out why are you doing, like, what's the purpose? What is your reason for it all? Because if it's just money and more transactions, that's going to fade. And that's where, that unhappiness in work and life will start to come. So I think just figuring out who you are and why you're doing it, um, and aligning yourself with the right people.
I love it. I think you can't have said it any better. And that, like, taking a break, I'm so guilty of that myself. It's hard to do, because we want to
Mhm.
do more and be more always.
It's so hard, but I've really aligned myself with a higher power that I'm put all my faith, like, I'm trusting. And I've never done, I call myself, like, when I say I'm in recovery, I'm a recovering control freak. And and I've had to let go, and, like, let God. I know that sounds silly, but
No,
I've had to, like, trust that when I'm taking care of me and I'm doing those right actions, that the
he'll provide.
yeah, he will. And it's every
He makes
time.
a way where you don't see a way.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
for sure. I love it. Hey, Megan, tell everybody where they can find you to learn more about you, if they have questions about real estate or recovery or any of that stuff.
yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Megan Farrell Nelson, just like it's spelled here. Also, my Instagram is at Megan Farrell Nelson. You can, get on either of those platforms, find my email me, call me, or text me at 386-597-3545. Would love to connect with you, and, just build more relationships.
Heck yeah. Thank you so much for being here today. Your
Thank
story is very
you.
inspiring. You guys, I hope y'all paid attention to this. We're on again every Tuesday, 12 o'clock Central. Then it's all over social media, YouTube, everywhere. Make sure you check out Megan. She's got an amazing energy. Anyone that knows her is just blessed for sure. You guys have a great day too.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.